Hello, everyone. My name is Julie McVey, and this is Unordinary Made Ordinary, where we talk about extraordinary experiences of everyday people. And today we're talking with Philip Siracusa. Did I get that
Yes,
right? Siracusa.
yeah.
Welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being here. I am super excited for everyone to hear your amazing experiences. Um, would you mind, Philip, just sharing a little bit about yourself, a little background?
Sure. My name is Philip Siracusa. I'm born and raised in Staten Island, New York, and I come from a big family of eight. And growing up in New York in the late '60s, early '70s, um, I was into sports and the typical high school kid. Football, baseball. I do remember points of my life when I would see shadows,
Oh,
which I really didn't understand what they were, and I dismissed it, thinking it was maybe an optical illusion or just something of the sun casting through the windows. And that led me up until 1981, which was one of the most significant points of my life when I had a near-death experience.
okay. Well, see, this is interesting. I didn't know about your younger years that you already had some, is that clairvoyance, maybe, abilities when you were
Empath-
growing up?
Empathic and um, a little bit of clairvoyant, yes.
Wow. And you didn't know then, but now you realize, oh,
I didn't
okay.
know that because coming from an Italian Catholic family, telling your parents you see apparitions, the only thing that would happen is you slap and tell them go back to bed. It doesn't
Right.
exist. I mean, that's how it was back in the '70s.
Absolutely.
It wasn't spoken of because it wasn't really believed.
Yes.
You're watching too many scary movies and things to that nature. Where today it's wide open and it's broad spectrum in the world, that more and more people are realizing that the
Mm.
supernatural, all possibilities are there now.
Mm-hmm. Yay. I'm so glad that people like you are speaking up and this is just opening up. Um,
It
uh,
took me a long time to talk about my near-death experience, to want to get into because it's a tough topic for me because it's emotional. I went through a
mm,
lot, and I'm 54 years old, and I look back, and it's been quite an interesting journey, to say the least.
well, please do not keep us in suspense any longer, if you wouldn't mind. Could you go back to that time right before you had your near-death experience and
Yes.
share?
So it was 1981. It was a routine visit at the dentist office. My mom had taken me. I was 14 years old. And it was the dentist, the assistant. My mom was sitting to the right of me, and they found the cavity, and he's pulling away. And, he says, well, we have to work on this. And, I'm not one for dentists, but just so that um, the listener knows, I was born with bronchial asthma and severe allergies from day one. And they
Oh,
gave me nitrous oxide. And the nitrous oxide was slowly putting me into a point where I wasn't feeling as much pain, but I was still pulling the dentist away.
mm,
So they put
okay.
the mask back over my face and I'm breathing more in.
Hmm.
And then I felt myself not breathing. And then I felt myself pulling upward from my body. And
Oh
it was
boy.
very slow. And I remember being at the ceiling, looking down and saying in my mind, that's me. And I'm yelling out through my mind, Mom, Mom, can you see me? And they're working on me and no one can see me. And I'm pulled through the ceiling of the dentist office.
Okay.
And I'm going up slowly into the sky. Then the office is becoming smaller and smaller, and I'm getting higher and higher up there. And then I was pulled into this wormhole, this vacuum hose, like a vortex, some kind of a tunnel. And the
Hmm.
tunnel pulled me in so fast that I was feeling a wind force against me. And Now I have no physical, it's the spiritual, and all I have is the conscious thoughts of what's happening to me. And it was complete
Mm.
darkness. It was black. I could not see. I was just being pulled thousands of miles an hour, for example. And it was had turns and it was windy.
What were you
And it,
sensing physically? Could you physically feel like the wind and
oh yeah, my spirit body was feeling this wind vibration, and I was hearing sounds,
mm,
not music, sounds of melody,
mm, nice.
hearing. And when I talk about the conscious mind, we think different in the physical world, and when you're on that side, it's you have a broader spectrum of you think you know where you are, you know where you are at the time until you come back into the physical. You know what's going on, and it's dark, it's scary, and it's very fast. And I
Oh.
see a pinhole of light. And for example, it would be like miles and miles away, like a little pin of
Mm,
light.
mhm,
And I was being pulled to it really, really fast. And I came to the end of the tunnel, and this tremendous white light opened up, and this magnificent mist blue,
mm.
clear sky opens up in front of me. And I felt I'm home.
Wow.
And you have chills right now. And I started to take in all these feelings through vibration of love and harmony and peace.
Mm,
This was total bliss. And that's pretty much shortcutting these words because what was over there was just the whole essence of me and us and this other side. And I say home, um, I'm being now drifting. I'm drifting towards a landscape. The landscape is magnificent, it's tremendous, and it goes on. There's no time on that side. It's space I have to measure here, physical. It goes on for miles, this landscape, and the landscape had colors that we don't have here in the physical realm. They don't exist. And each blade of grass, each tree in diameter, each leaf was beautiful. It was euphoric. And it sounds like, well, it's just the blade of grass.
mhm.
No, it wasn't. You see, the most simplicity of the other side is the most perfectness of the other side. It's as if you can feel the vibration of grass. You feel this energy as you're drifting through it, like a levitating, and you're just going right, you're hovering right above it, and you're feeling
Hmm.
and looking at a
Like
flower
feeling one with it, would you say? Or
connected as one. And looking and touching a flower, you can feel everything behind the flower, the essence of the creation of it.
wow.
It was, and I'm taking all this in right now. My spirit body, my soul's taking all this in. And I'm drifting and I'm loving it. And I'm not thinking, there's no thought process of where did I come from? Did I come from a dentist? There's none of that. That doesn't exist. The physical realm, I left my mom, and
Mhm.
that didn't exist. That was
Wow.
over. This was the new me. This was my soul's rejuvenation, and I'm home. So, not too
Wow.
far in the distance was this angelic being without wings. And this is one of the most significant parts of this experience. She had long blonde hair and crystal blue eyes, and she was coming towards me through these fields. And she came, I would say, again, there's no space there. So I would say feet away, and she's pulling me through vibration through the fields. And I'm feeling her love for me,
Mm,
her, um, her everything about her was being spoken through a form of telepathy through my consciousness. Her words of love, I'm here.
mm,
Let me show you. You know, again, this is the English language I'm saying this, but it was coming through in a way where it would multiply any language. Because on that side, it's as if one language knew every language. It
Hmm.
was all connected to that. And I'm drifting through these fields with her, and she's showing me, and then we get taken into a garden. And this garden is really undescribable. I call it the garden of love because the feelings and what I seen through the spirit eye of this garden
Hmm.
was beyond immense, beyond beautiful, love in its purest form. In the garden, you felt everything. You, through your vibration, you can take the sense in of the different smells of roses and flowers and trees. And
Hmm.
it was,
Wow.
it was incredible.
Would you
You
say
know?
your senses were heightened or and
So
you had more senses?
more senses. In the physical realm, we have limited senses. Over there, it's to what I would explain as limitless because it
Wow.
was a lot of telepathic. And how we live here, I feel like we're in a balloon, for example. You blow up a balloon and we're in it, the physical world. And then the spiritual world is on the outside of the balloon and is free will. They can do what they want
Hmm.
as far as like, this other destinations of this place is heaven, slash home. And you
Hmm.
have the ability to feel by vibration, to pick up telepathically, and to feel connected is a big word to everything,
Wow.
simultaneously feeling connected. I seen thousands and thousands and thousands of souls slash people. I would just like me, all different ages, kids, teenagers,
Hmm.
um, parents in their 40s and 50s, and people of all ages. But what was different was this: everyone looked amazing, as
Hmm.
if they didn't look like, so they would be the age of 40, 50, 60, or teenager, but they didn't look how we would see the age in the physical realm of a 70-year-old person.
Hmm.
That's not the way I seen them on that realm. They looked young, healthy, vibrant, full of the word life. You
Wow.
see, you see,
Yeah. Hmm.
when people ask me today, well, is this real, this life? This is real,
Hmm.
obviously, but this is fake compared to where you go. Because that's the real life.
So
That's the real
interesting.
reality of the soul. That's us. That's us in every sense that we have in being.
Hmm.
That is us. And I'm looking at everybody and they're playing in the fields and in the park. And I did see from a far distance through my mind's eye, I'm seeing homes. I'm seeing homes, and the homes are similar but different. It's as if these homes were made by thought, the thought process of the soul,
Hmm.
how each soul family wanted to create their dwelling, their place of being. Because as I'm looking at it, I can feel as if I'm behind the window, feeling the love of that family. And
Hmm.
it's it's beyond amazing, beyond words. And as she's taking me and I'm looking at everything, then she slowly brings me to my grandparents. Now, this is the heartbreaker for me. My grandma died early 1981, and I never met my grandfather. because he was deceased before I was born. And when she brought me to them and they're looking at me from about 10 feet away, for example, she goes away. This young angelic being
Mhm.
goes away. She's drifting into the fields.
Mhm.
And I knew my grandfather somehow. I said, Grandpa. And he looks at me and he goes, Hello, Sonny. And I felt all the warmth and vibration from just those words. He had a suit on, he had a top hat on. He looked around 75, but not how we would see 75 in the physical realm,
Uh-huh.
like this vibrant 75.
Mhm.
And he turns to my grandmother, who I loved very much. And my grandmother looks at me and she points her finger at me and she says, Go back now. And I says, Grandma. And through the conscious thought and what she said in the power of authority, the way she said it, I was pulling backwards
Mm.
and right into this tunnel. And I'm going backwards into this tunnel very, very fast. Once again, I'm just going
Wait,
backwards.
backwards. Like someone else I interviewed said that it was a rewind when they went
It was
back.
a- Yes. And through my
Wow.
conscious thoughts, I was like, I'm not going back to that dentist office. I'm not going back there.
Hmm.
And I stopped. In the middle of this tunnel, I stopped. And that, through the vibrational feeling, was scary because it's as if you're alone in the universe and this total darkness that no one's ever going to find you,
Mm.
ever. It was null, void, and nothing, nothingness, nothing.
Hmm.
And I was, through my thoughts, pulling myself back to heaven. And I went forward again because that's what I really wanted. I wanted to be there with my grandparents. And I'm being pulled to the light again. As soon as I make it to the entrance,
Mhm.
I'm pulled backwards so fast.
Oh,
But
man.
this time I didn't stop. This
Yeah.
time I kept going and going and going. And the next thing I knew, I was hovering over my body and I kept saying through my thoughts, I'm not going back in that body.
Wow.
Like, I want to go back home. I want to go back home.
Mhm.
And when the other side says you're going back, you're going back. And
Mm.
how do I describe it? I'm looking at myself being given oxygen. There's an IV in me.
Mhm.
My mom's there. Doctors are there. It's as if you slip right in somehow. You hover over the body and you fall into it. You're an energy. You're this energy that cannot be seen, and you fall
Wow.
into the body. And then I'm gasping for air, and wow.
Mm.
Um, I had a, I had a, I had a hard time with this for a long time
Mhm.
going through this. The nitrous oxide didn't agree with me. I had a severe reaction. Day before, I was given another medication that must have triggered something else off
Oh,
in my body, and my breathing just, I
right.
had hives everywhere, and
Yeah.
that shut me down.
Right.
Penicillin. I'm
Oh.
allergic to penicillin. I was given that the day before for something
Oh my
else, and
goodness.
that shut me down.
Okay.
Now, I need to stress this. So I'm 14 years old and I go through this experience and I remember days later trying to talk to my parents and
Mhm.
it's a hallucination, it's a daydream.
Right.
You
Yeah.
nitrous oxide, so it makes you think things that, and I felt like, no, this is just too real. I seen Grandpa. I seen him,
Mm.
and I described him. And they understood I was describing,
Mhm.
you know, but it wasn't believed, especially in the 1981. It wasn't believed. But this is what did happen. As a teenager, I lived through that, and I tried talking to friends, but in 1981, you're growing up, you're going to school, you're playing sports, and no one's going to listen to you anyway.
Mm.
It's very, very difficult. A year later, in my mom's backyard in Staten Island, New York, beautiful summer day, in my mind, I asked God, if I was really at your home, please give me a sign.
Mm.
Because I really had doubt that I went through
Sure.
this experience. The next day, my mom, we lived on a very long street. My mom took my brothers, my sisters, and myself. She said, let's go for a walk. And we went for a long walk down the street. And about a couple blocks up, I felt this energy to the right of me.
Hmm.
And I turned to the right, and here is this angelic being from heaven.
Mm.
And I'm looking at her, and I'm not sure what to say. And I'm feeling this love again, this happiness, this pureness of heaven
Hmm.
as she's looking at me. And Mom, can you see her? My brothers, I'm shaking them and they think I'm nuts. But my older sister seen her. And she's like, I see her. I see her. And she's laughing and giggling, this angelic being. And she had on a shirt with flowers on it, blue jeans, a mirror image of my age. And she's walking with us. And through my mind, she's telling me, it's okay. I'm here.
Wow.
I'm here. And
Wow.
somehow my sister's all acknowledging this and seeing her and trying to talk to her. And after she's giving me these telepathic messages like, it's okay, I'm here with you till you get back,
Mm.
she fades out.
Hmm.
I didn't want to walk anymore with my family because now I think that there's something going on here. But my older sister's
Yeah.
seen her, and we're talking about this, and she's like, and she was excited, just as excited as I was. And I said, this is the girl. This is that angelic being that I seen on the other side in heaven.
Wow.
And
That's so cool.
she said, I seen her too, but how?
Yeah.
Do you know, up until this day, actually a few weeks ago, we spoke about this
Hmm.
and we really try to resonate this and figure this out. It's so mind blowing. Well, that's at 15 years old. A few years later, in a dream state, about 19 years old, she came into the dream
Hmm.
and she's showing me um, things to come within my
Mm.
life. She's showing me
Hmm.
through a dreaming visual,
Hmm.
as if I'm seeing the dream unfold within time to come in my physical reality. At 15, I woke up the next day thinking, I mean, at 19, I woke up thinking, it's just a dream, a strong dream. It was nothing more. 3 years ago, I'm 54. 3 years ago,
Hmm.
I had a lot of issues going on and self doubt and problems in this physical realm.
Mm.
You know, the everyday life and everything took a toll. And I remember going to sleep that night and she appeared in a dream again. And she restored my soul's energy
Mm.
to a point when I woke up the next morning, I felt new again. I felt vibrant and alive again. And like, I know it's real. I know what I went through. She's real. And my gift and my question to God was answered.
Hmm.
I want to just jump in and say this really, really quick because a lot of people that I share my near death experience, they ask me, have you seen God or Jesus or
Mm.
angels?
Right.
And here's my answer. I do believe, but I did not see God or Jesus. What I did see and
Mm.
feel was
Hmm.
the light. And I
Mm.
felt because the light had so much of this pure love, the light was the creator. I
Hmm.
didn't need to see the creator because God was the light. That's
Yeah.
how I describe what I went through. God was the light. God is, He is everything. When I talked
Mm.
about that mist blue, clear sky that you could just see through the whole sky, that's God. He is the light. He is everything there.
Mm.
I didn't need to see a single person being on the other side. That's what I felt.
Hmm.
And that's something that I really want to stress to people is that this other side I'm talking about is real. It does exist. And a lot of people today even ask me this angelic being. I talk about her in the book that I wrote, how she appeared in the fields of heaven. And if it wasn't for my older sister to see her in the physical world, I still would have had self doubt believing that this actually happened to me.
Right. Sure.
And the reason also I want to get my message out there to people about this near death experience is because I went through a part of my life when everything, if it could go wrong, it did go wrong. And when
Mm,
I was in that tunnel and I see nothing but darkness, it was that pinhole of light that restored my faith, and the possibilities are endless.
mm,
But if I was pulled to it through this consciousness, it would open up another world of creational love. And when the blinders are on in this physical realm and you don't see the light and you don't see anything positive that's going to happen to you, I trust you. I trust the fact that have faith, believe,
mm,
and have the emotions behind it, not just through the mind, because the mind can play tricks. Have it through the feeling of
mm,
the heart, because the
mm,
heart is the essence of the soul's energy, and you have to feel it from within. And if you have enough intention to want to get through the bad parts and get and see an opening of when do things get better within this lifetime, I promise that it will happen. And through my experience, I'm going to say that loved ones that cross over are never truly gone. And that's a very important takeaway because when I described us being in the balloon and the spirit realm being on the outside of the balloon, if you have intentional love and thought and trueness of wanting to communicate with grandma, grandpa, uncle, cousin, friend, relative, sibling, whoever, and you put all the distractions of everyday life away, cell phone, computers, TVs, and you put yourself into the state of show me, I
mm,
need to talk to you.
mhm,
For the signs, the sense of cologne, perfume. A song goes on that reminds you of that person. Coincidentally, the song goes on a day or two after you're thinking about them as you're flipping through stations and you're thinking about them as you're thinking about the song. Well, there's your sign. There is the sign. They're saying, hey, this is a validation. I'm here, I'm watching. Just like that angelic being did to me. They always watch, they always care, and don't let go of your faith. I'm a spiritualist. I have an open faith, but I know that this other side does exist. And I don't disrespect anybody's beliefs or religions. I can just say that from my experience and my knowledge of what I've went through, it's as if we've written down this life journey before we're born into the physical realm, what we want to experience. And we think of it as simple thoughts here, like, well, why would I want to experience having a broken leg? Or why would I want to experience being in a car accident? Or all these,
yeah.
it's the way the soul goes on through life journeys. I'm a strong believer in reincarnation,
Mm,
that the soul never dies ever. It cannot be, the energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It doesn't burn out.
mm,
In my true feeling, the way I want to stress this to the listener, the viewer, we always go on. We always were. It's as if we're infinite beings.
mhm,
And again, it's really hard to comprehend in the physical realm because of our limitations.
yeah.
But once you're outside of that balloon and you have more senses, there are no limitations. And you kind of grasp more of that realm. And it's the wow effect. I'm a grandfather. I'm a happy father. And I've came this far in my journey and I've been through a lot. And I have to say that going through this, it's my mission as a messenger. I'm no one special. I'm just a messenger to tell people, look, do your best in this physical realm because somehow you've written it out. But I promise you,
Hmm.
you you don't when you die, it's scary. Even today, I'll think about, oh, my physical body's gonna go when it's over. But having that experience of leaving my body and looking at my body and not wanting to go into my body,
Mm.
well,
Yeah.
there's the truth right there is that the thought is scary because we're limited on our thoughts, but the openness is incredible once you've crossed. Don't take any shortcuts, such as taking your own life because you feel like this is too hard or you felt like you can't do this no more. Live your journey to the completeness and fulfill it as best as you can
Mm.
and have an open mind to the spirits around you that they're never truly gone, ever. We go on and we're infinite energy. And when you get there, you'll see that you're back home again.
Wow. I'm just, you just, for me personally, I'm filled with hope in this moment and reminded again, because, I have doubts. I think we all have doubts. And even you who went through this just mind-blowing near-death experience and was reassured with the angel, and then your sister, who I'm curious if she's clairvoyant now or she still sees visions, you were given that gift that she saw to confirm, yes, this did happen.
That was the validation for me at 15 years old because I was ecstatic when she says, I see her too.
I'm sure you're just like, okay,
And I felt like, wow, this is, you know, amazing,
it's so wonderful to
incredible.
get that.
I do believe that, she has, my older sister has gifts to see. Um, I still think about it and I shake my head because I still try to figure out this angelic thing was so significant in this near death experience. And she came here and she's in a dream twice within
Mm-hmm.
my life. I always say, who is she? Who is
Mm-hmm.
she?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have that question. And I guess I'll find out when I cross over
Mm-hmm.
and don't come back. But I will, from feeling that, I want people to know that loved ones, because obviously she's a loved one,
Mm-hmm.
to
Exactly.
do something like that, prayers can be answered.
Right. Yeah. We always have, some people call it soul family, loved ones that are always watching over us, especially if you believe in reincarnation. It's like hard to imagine how many loved ones you might have connected to you from other lives that are connected to you in this life. I mean, I don't know how it works, but your story is so beautiful. And it kind of gives me personally a little bit of like, I feel a little bit better about all the times I doubt, because gee, if Philip can have doubts and you went and you had these experiences, those who have not had some of these experiences, of course we're going to have doubts. That's understandable. We're human and it's hard. This earth journey is a pretty tough journey for a
You
lot.
know, you know how I would explain this? Okay, so our lives are like a puzzle, and each part of our life is being put together by the piece of the puzzle. And when you cross over, the puzzle is complete, where there are no coincidences.
Mm,
It's it all happens because of reason, and the reason because you've chose it, and you see the whole puzzle completed, and like, I
mm.
get it now. Now I understand.
Yeah.
But you don't get it up until you cross when the
Yeah.
puzzle's completed, and now you say, "Oh, I get it now."
Yeah. So, if it's okay, I'm just so curious now. So you said you did write a book. I would like to learn about that. And of course, please share. Do you have it with you by any chance? A copy? And you
I
just,
don't have that book in front of me.
but of course, share that with us. And I will put a link in the description, the video description, so anybody can get a hold of that.
Yes.
but I'm also just curious about other things that have happened, maybe a little bit you could share in your life since then. Like, what are your thoughts on death now? And have you had more visions? And has your clear abilities developed?
Most definitely. And I'm glad you asked that. In 1993, my brother worked in a health food store called Cornucopia,
Mm.
which was in the Concord that separated the two World Trade Centers. And I remember going from Staten Island, taking the ferry and the bus. I was into juicing. I wanted the Omega juicer back
Huh.
then.
Yeah, yeah.
I went there and got it. And then I was leaving the World Trade Center, and I'm about a block away. And that that voice, this female voice, and I'm not going to say it's that angelic being because I really can't identify that. This female voice comes into my mind and says, "Turn around and look up."
Hmm.
So I turn around and I look up at these tall buildings as far as I could look because they're very tall. And she says, "One day they're coming down. They won't be there anymore." And I'm thinking it's my mind. I'm thinking that, why am I thinking this?
Yeah.
And so I get back on a bus and take the ferry and another bus and I go back home and I'm thinking, why would I think that? In 2001, my wife and I were renting a home in Staten Island, and I was having these nightmares that turned into these night tremors, and they were these planes crashing into highways
Wow.
and buildings. And I woke up that morning with cold sweats, and I was telling my wife, this is real. Something about the stream is real. I can feel it. I can
Mhm.
feel it. And she said, "Well, it's just a bad dream." I was like, "Yeah, maybe you're right." And I remember the morning waking up. I would put on Jerry Springer to laugh. So I used to like Jerry Springer. It's just a funny show. I used to watch it. And I go to check the baby in the crib in another room, and I come back and there's a news station on, but my wife is still in the bedroom.
Mhm.
And I'm looking at the news station and I see one of the World Trades up on top on fire.
Mm.
So I call my brother and he's like, "I'm running late, but I don't know if I'm going to work." And as I'm talking to him, I see a plane come into another building. And well, my heart dropped.
Mhm.
And now comes the dream. Now comes
Yeah.
the voice. Now comes going backwards. And it's all in sequence. And I'm watching this unfold in front of me, saying it's not real, it's not real. And unfortunately, I'm watching these buildings come down, and I'm just devastated because I have a lot of friends that were firemen and cops in New York.
Mhm.
So I don't know why I was given that message.
Yeah.
Well, about
What
a
in the
year ago,
world?
about a year ago, a friend came into my dream, and this is one of those vivid dreams. And he died he was a cop, and he was one of the first responders of 9/11. And he died of, I guess it just took a lot out of him, breathing all that stuff in.
Oh.
And in
Yeah.
the dream, he's near a tree. Remember, I talked about the tree in heaven, the diameter, and how beautiful and perfect?
Mhm.
He's near a tree, and I'm going closer to him in the dream. And I said, "Ronnie?" And he looks at me, and I says, "You can see me?" He's like, "Of course I could see you. Come over here." And I was like, "But you died." He's like, "I'm okay. I'm okay." And he looks amazing. Like I would have seen him in his 20s, but a thousand times better. He had this yellow glow around him of energy. He looked great.
Oh.
And he was talking in the dream through vibrational, I guess through another form of telepathy.
Uh-huh.
And I'm feeling this. Now I'm feeling it in the dream that he's okay.
Yeah.
And I wake up the next day only to uh, be looking at pictures, and I find his picture with me and him in Florida, with another one of our friends, and then you feel it. You feel that I get it now. I
Mhm,
get it.
mhm.
These are the signs. And that's why I was talking about the signs, because look for the signs. They're so significant that a person that you know or loved or cared about,
Uh-huh.
they're trying to tell you something. And so this
Wow.
unfolded, and it was the validation that I'm okay.
Mhm.
I'm okay. And I know that because not only because of the dream, but because of my experience when I was 14 years old.
Wow. Gosh, that's that's really amazing. Um, yeah, we're kind of running up on time. I'm gonna have you back because I know we have a whole other realm that we could be talking about that I do want you to talk about and share. Um, can I ask you though, how has this changed you? Like, do you feel like you have a stronger vision of your purpose in life now than ever
Most
before?
definitely. Most definitely. Remember, I was talking about the angelic being in the second dream. Um, they kind of give you hints and visions of what might unfold within the reality of life. Um, being a father and a grandfather was something I wouldn't think I would do, but years back, I felt like the possibilities of, I wasn't that person. I was a club kid. I was, go out with my friends. I wasn't that
Mhm,
um tie down type, but it unfolded to a way when I look back now, I become the messenger, the spiritualist to let people know that write out your story,
mm,
write out your faith and your
mhm,
love. And it's not about, we all know the obvious that it costs money to live. I get that. Over there on the other side, obviously, that doesn't exist. It's about love. On this side, do what you can do for your fellow man and don't expect anything back. Let it happen for the way it should be. And I
mhm,
promise you, doors are going to open. So it's kind of just give and help. Help, it doesn't have to be a money thing. It just could be helping someone walk across the street, helping someone with groceries, helping someone with things they don't understand and computers or whatever you
mhm.
felt you can help them with,
Right.
but don't expect it back. Let it out into the universe. Help
Mhm,
them with your true essence of you,
mhm,
and I promise it'll come back in a way where you'll be like, wow, things are changing for me. I didn't know that I'd
hmm,
be offered a new job, and I didn't know that my wife would be bringing a new kid into the world. It's the things that you don't expect
mhm,
that will unfold. Just let it be and be the best
mhm.
being you can be on this journey.
It almost sounds simple. Like when I hear you, I think so many times I've complicated things and just let it flow. How about just enjoy the flow of it and the simplicity of it, and then it'll come. It just sounds like, oh, I didn't realize it could be easy. That's what I hear from you. It's nice.
When I talked about the flower and the rose in heaven and the blade of grass, and it sounds so simple, but yet it's there's so much meaning behind these
Yeah,
simple
no, I get it. I
to
actually do.
feel the vibration of it. So
Mm,
in this realm,
mhm,
um, it's just simple and good nature and helping others and letting it out there and don't expect through the mind, I need something back in return. Don't do that. Let it go. And and tremendous things can happen. And I'm proof of that.
Philip, I love your story so much. And like I said, I'm going to have you back because we're going to talk about other things. But would you mind sharing what is the name of your book and then how listeners can get a hold of you?
Sure. The name of the book is called The Horsefly Chronicles. You can find it on Amazon. And the Horsefly Chronicles is a life journey growing up through adolescence in Staten Island, New York, and trials and tribulations and temptations and things that I've went through. And then it brings into the near-death experience, and it talks about the fields of heaven, which is the wow of my
I
life.
want to go there.
And that book ended in 1999, and I don't want to give the book away, but at the end of that book, I was told what would happen going forward.
Oh,
And here I am today in this journey. So I'll leave it like that.
oh,
And you could find me on Horsefly Chronicles Radio, Monday nights, 8 o'clock Eastern, where we interview a lot of different guests from around the world. And we talk about their supernatural experiences, whether it's paranormal,
okay.
angel, um, aliens, people who felt like they've lived this life already, deja vu, out of body experiences. And
My cup of tea, all of it.
we go into those topics really hard. And, we like doing this, my wife and I, was because we want the listener to know that there's such a wide range of people that have had similar experiences but are afraid to share it. And we want people to know, don't be afraid, tell your story, tell it. And I'm thankful to be on your show because I find it interesting, intriguing, and I like what you do. As I'm watching some of these videos that you've put out there, and I'm like, I want to be on that show. You're doing a great job, and it helps people. At the end of the day, it's not about me. It's about helping others understand their true spirituality.
Hmm. Which is it, like you said, it comes back though. It's such a blessing. It's such a heart blessing. So for
Most
me, like I, I love it. I know it helps other people, but that it's like this reciprocal thing going on, a beautifully reciprocal, like helping one another. And it's just, I'm very excited to be a part of it. Gosh, your show sounds amazing.
Thank you. Really quick before this ends, I do want to say that what you just said, that last statement, when I was in heaven, we're all connected somehow. We're all one somehow. We're connected. Well, when I talk about doing something good in this realm,
Mhm.
we're all connected. We're all that. You're not going to see it, but
You
it's
know
there.
it.
The
Hmm.
energy is there.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. 100%. Love this conversation so much. Okay, what am I forgetting? Anything else you want to share? Any other
Oh no,
um
that's it. That's it. Thanks for having me on tonight, and
okay.
let's do a follow up
Yes,
on, you know,
absolutely. So thank you once again for taking the time to share with us. Thank you to everyone for watching. This has been Julie McVey with Unordinary Made Ordinary, and I hope you'll join us next time for another fascinating interview. And if you enjoyed this interview, give it a thumbs up. And if you like this type of content, of course, subscribe. And if you're on YouTube, you can hit the bell icon and then be alerted to future videos. So I hope you're having a fantastic day or evening wherever you are on the planet or off the planet. And I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.